I'm trying to figure out when around this time did because you know 6 languages, you're a polyglot. When did that start to happen?
Well, kind of at Wisconsin. So, obviously in LA you have to learn Spanish, as I'm sure you had to do. And, very bad Spanish, but you learned it. And then in college, I started learning French. And then I got really into German. I don't know why. I got very excited about learning German, maybe because I heard so much Yiddish when I was growing up.
Likewise, that's why I learned German. It's also the Germanic language is the origin of the English language.
Yeah. And I found it I don't know if you have the same story, but I found German kind of easy for me, which is strange.
Yes.
I think it was because of the Yiddish. And then, I got French, and then I studied some Spanish again and a bit of Italian, and then I had the Greek and the Latin. So that was the origins of my polyglottism. Sounds like a disease. Okay.
So you have 80 jobs. I will not ask you to go through all those, but that is your long shot story right there. One of them. And I mean, really, was it really 80 jobs? I know, cause like Quentin Tarantino's like Kill Bill, he says there's that big gang, but he's like, there really wasn't that many. Was it really 80 jobs?
Well, one time, because my girlfriend, who I've been with for quite a while, she saw me in my early years before the book. She saw how many different jobs I had. And I was talking about it. She said, let's try and count them actually. One day she said, Robert, and we counted, and I kind of lost track in the 60s. And I go, wow, that might be it all, but I think in the back of my mind, I'm forgetting some. So we kind of estimated upward into the 80s. But I did everything. I taught English in Barcelona. I was a receptionist in a hotel in Paris. I did construction work in Athens. I worked in a detective agency here in Los Angeles. I was an assistant to a film director and producer. You name it, I did it. And it was an amazing that was my real education, I can tell you that.
Those are the building blocks to what's going to happen. Because, I mean, to have that consciousness level from the work that you did, I guess I'll jump ahead a little bit. Now this is the way I see the 48 Laws of Power, your concept. There's a great, I think it's Richard Attenborough in the movie Chaplin, where he tells the story of Chaplin discovering the mustache, the hat, the cane, how that Chaplin really came about, discovering his disguise. Was it a magical moment, or was it really more, formal and thought out and strategic?
You mean the 48 Laws of Power?
Yeah.
The creation of it? Well,
the format, the whole thing.
Yeah, sometimes you don't really know exactly where things came from because there's a sort of an unconscious level that you can never quite figure out. But it was 1995. I was in Italy on another job, kind of a very strange job, which I won't get into here. And I was with this man who was working with me as well, who was a book packager, a wonderful man named Joost Elfers. He's Dutch. We were walking in Venice, Italy, along the quays of the most beautiful city in the world, or one of the most beautiful. And he asked me if I had any ideas for a book. And at the time, I was a very unhappy, depressed person because I couldn't figure out what I was meant to do in life. I had tried journalism. I had tried writing novels. I tried working in Hollywood. It wasn't quite clicking. And I was 36 at the time, so time was running out. And I kind of improvised this idea to him about power and how power is timeless, how we're in this office in Italy and all the figures there look very modern and contemporary, but in fact they are just like Cesare Borgia, just like the characters that Machiavelli had described. Power is timeless. People aren't being murdered for doing something wrong. They're just simply being fired, but it's the same dynamic. And I told him a story to illustrate my idea. The story that opens the book about the great French minister Nicolas Fouquet, who threw this lavish party to impress Louis XIV and get into his good graces so Louis would make him prime minister. And the party at this amazing chateau, which I later visited, was such a resounding success. Everybody loved it. And then lo and behold, the next day, Nicolas Fouquet was arrested and thrown in prison for the rest of his life. He had outshone the master. Law number one, never outshine the master. So right. It was brewing in me this kind of weird structure. And then as I was writing the book, the structure that you now see it in, I don't really know where exactly it came from. I have an idea that there's a little bit of some things from Hebrew school, believe it or not. When you had to
Where'd you go to Hebrew school?
University Synagogue in West Los Angeles.